Hey guys, what is up? We are back with another video. Thank you so much for tuning in today once again. We are at like almost 4,200 subscribers, which is super exciting on this channel. I just want to give a big thank you to every single one of you for being part of the family that we're slowly building here. If you haven't already, please make sure to smash that like button because it goes a massive way in helping us grow. So yesterday on my main channel, I made a video talking about Amazon. It was a bit of a funny, just joke video where I bought stupidly expensive shoes off of Amazon, and it got me thinking about my own investment in Amazon and how much money I've actually made and invested in Amazon over the last 2.5 years. I've talked about this before, but those videos are still getting so many views now that I wanted to update it with more relevant information for people that might be curious about investing in Amazon in 2021. Amazon is the biggest share of my portfolio of any one company. It's probably a little bit too big for most professionals. They'd recommend you don't have more than like 5 or 10% of your holdings in one company. I definitely have a little bit more than 10%. I originally invested in Amazon back in 2018 when it was around $1,600 or $1,700. And then I invested again this past spring in 2020 when it dipped back down to around that price again. And then it ballooned all the way up to around 35 or 3,600. And I actually ended up offloading around a third of my shares of Amazon at $3,475, which turned out to be a pretty good idea because it went back down to around $3,100, and I ended up picking up the exact same amount of shares again around 2 or 3 weeks ago for $3,105, which is an amazing deal. I was able to sell a few shares of Amazon at $34.75, buy them back like 3 months later for $31. If you ask me, that's pretty good. But today I want to talk to you about the long-term prospects of Amazon and whether I think they have any more potential for growth, and also explaining to you guys how you can invest in Amazon, because I know it is a very expensive stock, but lots of people want to get in on it. How do you do that if you don't have $3,300 to spend? So first off, do I think Amazon still has room to grow? 100% yes. That's the only reason I'm still holding the stock. If I thought Amazon had capped out its growth potential, had reached market saturation, I wouldn't still be owning Amazon stock. Like, if I didn't think a company was going to continue to perform, I would sell the company. Even to this day, I think lots of regular consumers really undervalue the importance that these super ginormous tech companies are going to have on the way we operate as a world 10 years from now. And I think lots of people still view Amazon as an online store. Amazon is not an online store. Amazon is a tech company, and anyone that thinks differently doesn't realize the full potential of Amazon. They have massive amounts of data servers. They have massive amounts of technologies that they're developing. They do so many things past the website where you can buy books and groceries and toilet paper and trampoline. So to answer that, yes, I think Amazon still has a massive growth potential, and I will not be selling my shares of Amazon anytime soon unless we hear some bad news about the company, and even then I will probably still hold on to them. For me, Amazon is a long-term investment. I'm talking 5, 10, 20 years, not the next 6, 12 months. I don't care what happens to Amazon stock in the next 6 months. I mean, hey, if it shoots up to $5,000, I might sell off a little bit of it and wait for another dip. But besides that, I really don't care. Now, more importantly, I get this question a lot on my previous videos about Amazon, is how do you invest in Amazon? Tom, I want to buy an Amazon share and I don't have $3,480. What do I do? Okay, this is actually really helpful, and you guys are going to thank me for this. There are tons of online trading platforms where you can buy fractional shares. I believe Robinhood even offers fractional shares. I also believe Webull offers fractional shares. There's tons of online trading platforms that have no commission where you can buy a fraction of an Amazon share, which is super helpful because that's such a high barrier to entry. If you're a young adult looking to invest or just getting started investing, pouring $3,300 into a singular share of a singular company probably isn't well advised. Like I was saying, you shouldn't have more than 10% of your investments in one particular company. So if you're only working with $10,000, to put 33 or 34% of that into one company is not the best idea. Now with fractional shares, basically how that works is you are buying a fraction of a share. It's pretty straightforward, but you could buy a tenth of an Amazon share for $340 instead of one Amazon share for $3,400. I think you could buy them at a whole bunch of different intervals, but the point being is that it creates a much easier barrier of entry, a much lower barrier of entry to actually being able to buy these expensive big tech stocks, because not everyone has $35,000 laying around to justify buying one share of Amazon. That's another thing that people get very caught up on as well, is the share price. They're like, oh, that's too expensive. I'm not gonna buy Amazon for $3,500. I could buy Apple for $230 or whatever Apple is at right now. I completely understand why people think that way. It's a natural way to think, but it's not necessarily correct. The price of the share does not reflect the price of the company. There are companies with a share price of $4 that have a much more valuable company than companies with a share price of $300. So whether you're gonna buy one share of Amazon or 10 shares of Apple, it doesn't get you more or less value. Don't get scared away by a high value stock price. It really says nothing about the company. It says nothing about its ability to continue to go up in value or continue to go down in value. Whether it started at $500 and is now at $800, or started at $50 and is now at $80, it makes literally zero difference. It just makes it a little bit harder to buy shares for someone that doesn't have a ton of excess capital. I also know lots of people have been comparing the recent surge in tech stocks to the early 2000s dot-com bubble. And yeah, there are tons and tons of similarities, but I think the difference between a company like Amazon now and a company that was largely affected in the early 2000s dot-com bubble is that there was no internet technology company or internet company in general that was synonymous with everyday life, that was essential to the way that we carry our daily lives in the early 2000s. It just didn't exist. Sure, the internet was a lot of places, most businesses and a lot of households had the internet and had personal computers, but it wasn't part of our culture, it wasn't part of our life. Whereas now, Amazon is just part of how we operate. Sure, Amazon stock could go down. I have no doubt that it will at some point. But in terms of a massive crash where we see 30, 40, 50% drop in value, I really don't see that happening. At this point, I don't see Amazon as a speculative company that can fall massively in value, because it has such a massive customer base and is actually a profitable company at this point. That being said though, if we see another price dip later in the year, I will personally be buying some more. And I mean, let's all keep our fingers crossed for $5,000 on Amazon. If I could get you guys to all comment $5,000 Amazon shares down in the comment section below, I would really appreciate it. Let me know what you think of Amazon if you are going to be investing into it in 2021. Make sure to click the links in the description to go follow me on Instagram and Twitter, and to go check out our Rolex mystery box that we are selling for $49.99. But with that being said, guys, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, peace.